Ha! I bet you didn't think in your wildest dreams that I would be pulled, kicking and screaming, into the 21st century of glorious technology. Look, I have a little microphone on me. Yes. So I'm sitting here in my secret garden. The birds have found it, obviously. And I'm thinking a little bit, well, I've been thinking quite a lot actually, since yesterday about YouTube, social media platforms, and how I am where I am today. So, little recap. 20 years ago, in May, just gone, I arrived here at Bealtaine Cottage, and here is a picture of the cottage. Look at this technology. And I had a purpose in mind, and that purpose was to plant a woodland. That's simple, plant a woodland. Now, I knew that it was going to take years for that woodland to become established, so I put myself on a trajectory of lots of stuff in between whilst waiting for the trees to grow. So I started off with a permaculture design in my head. All the designs have always been in my head. Like an old Celt, I don't write things down. And you know why? Because when you write things down, you sort of birth them. They're birthed. There they are. All the imagination, all the what's it going to be like? What will it be like being a parent, etc., etc. Out of the window, it's birthed. So I don't do that. And people ask me, Colette, did you have a plan? Did you write this plan down? Did you draw the plan? Even just creating this secret garden, nothing jotted down, all in my head, because when you have a vision in your head, it becomes manifest more so than if you write it down or draw it up on a computer or whatever. That's what I've found out anyway. Change things around. Only because when I watch YouTube videos, I do get a bit bored with the old talking heads. So, yeah, everything becomes manifest in better form, in better shape, and in quicker time from your head than from plans. That's what I found. So, over the course of 20 years, because I've been here 20 years, I found myself. Now, finding oneself sounds a bit new agey, and it is, because what I had was peace and nature, far removed from the turmoil that I had left. And I left London, you see. I'd been in London 30 years. I had gone there as a 16-year-old, almost 17, on my own, a bit like Dick Whittington, to make my fortune. Well, I married and made a family instead. So maybe a spiritual fortune I made. I don't know. Anyway, I found myself. And in that process, I questioned everything about my life, about my understanding of the world, about my beliefs, about my spirituality, about my journey, my sacred journey, as I have come to call it. And yes, I found myself. I found myself in that I've become very comfortable with myself. And over that 20 years, I have lived here entirely on my own. Well, I say entirely. At one point, I had 2 of my grandchildren living with me for a whole year, actually. And as I said before, the process of planting a woodland was a strenuous task, but there was lots and lots of stages in between. So I practiced permaculture, which I still do. I still believe in permaculture, and decided to go on social media. Now, for the first 11 years, I've got to say this because this is important. People are saying, oh, I'm seeing advertisements on your videos, and you said there was no advertisements. For the first 11 years that I was on YouTube, I did not have any advertising on this channel. And I paid the price for that because YouTube sort of shadow banned me. I was put into the background. Very few people found me, and those who did find me found me sort of accidentally. You know the story. But my first love on social media, and the abiding one, was my website, because I decided I was going to have a website, and I wasn't going to have advertising on that anyway. Never did, never have, still is free from ads. But that became my go-to place when I felt overlooked by YouTube and other social media platforms. Anyway, that's by the by. I'm just literally trying to put things into context here. So I had the polytunnel was devoted to vegetables. I had potager beds where I grew flowers and vegetables, all very successfully. I created a lot of new ideas, which have since been taken up by the permaculture movement, by the way, and by gardeners, and I've never been acknowledged for that. I've got to say that. But the main thing was I found myself. I found what it was that brought me joy. I found peace. I found, well, I was going to say determination, but I've always had that. But I realised I was happiest on my own. So, yeah. Now, how did I lose the plot? Well, let me tell you. So, I'm being very experimental now today, aren't I? How did I lose the plot? Well, the realisation that social media wasn't quite the liberator that I thought it was. For many years I felt it had been my friend, when in fact it wasn't my friend at all. Those of you who have found me on social media have, in the main, been really loyal to this channel and loyal to the website. And as I began to write, I sort of transitioned. So I went all the way through the whole permaculture thing and growing my own food and doing up the cottage as I went and, you know, scraping by. I mean, I was literally scraping by and paying a mortgage. The people who started to find Bealtaine Cottage became the most loyal of people, the most dedicated. And when I started writing, which I did, I think 5 or 6 years ago, my first book, I mean, the first edition of it basically sold out. And I've got great reports back on my books. I've written several since. And I've got to the point where I'm enchanted by my life and enchanted by the spiritual side of it and the esoteric. And over the course of time, I have become basically a druidess. I live that close to the earth. And Mother Earth means everything to me. Now, for many, many people, I would appear to have lost the plot. What do you think? Hmm? The one thing that I'm not sure about actually with this recording, this little microphone, is does this microphone pick up the bird song? I don't know if it does, but anyway, I'll plough on. So this is the stone circle which I created many, many years ago. It has 13 stones, and I go into that in other videos, past videos. For some people, this is me losing the plot. Oh, what's she doing creating stone circles? Oh, I'm not too sure if this is the channel I want to be on now. So it's become a little bit controversial how my life has sort of curved away through many experiences and into what I call walking between worlds. Now, this isn't one of those channels where I'm going to float about in floaty dresses and, you know, I've got someone filming me and doing the editing and everything looks glorious and sweet. Actually, everything does look glorious. I don't know why that is. It just does. But if this is losing the plot, then thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you for the new life you've given me, for the peace, for the tranquility, for the sheer beauty. When this was once just rushy fields. Isn't this magic? I'm sure we've all watched lots of magic shows where magicians have conjured up things, but look around you. Isn't this magic? Or have I lost the plot? Anyway, blessings. Blessings to you all. And this is my little oak. Do you know why I don't stake it? Why I don't stake any of my trees? Because when the wind blows and the tree rocks, you know what happens to it? its roots go deeper and grow stronger. And that's magic too.